Welcome to the bold analysis. Otiende Amolo today has confronted conformists as the fate of ODM party remains a big concern for the ODM fraternity days after Raila Odinga funeral. And in this podcast, I will demonstrate to you how the UDA merger with the opposition, with the then Raila party, will likely crack into pieces as individuals struggle to establish their niche within the party. But I'm also for the first time, Boni Khalwale is revealing the secret of the president and Ruto deal that probably not several MPs were able to grasp, or that he realized it was getting out of hand. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our videos. And thank you very much for supporting this podcast. Here with in-depth political analysis, and we make sure that we give you the perspectives that trigger your thinking, but perspectives that make you ask what is next. And of course, we give it as political reality show. Here, we don't sugarcoat it. And to do that for an informed nation is a healthy nation. Before we even get to Otiende Amolo, there was an exclusive interview that was done by Boni Khalwale, and he's giving his peace of mind in terms of what Raila wanted to get from the deal with the president. That is Boni Khalwale.
Aggressive team of Babu Wino and Edwin Sifuna. They were saying the things that were exciting the voter of the future, the youth. And we had the second group of the people who came to government through the window of broad-based government, who came to eat. They included Opiondai, he came to eat. Oparanya, he came to eat. Joho, he came to eat. And the young lady from Turkana, they all came to eat. They would have, and the man I love, Wanga-Mbadi, they came to eat. They would have killed you. You heard those statements. They were weeping more than the bereaved, because they knew that if the weeping does not whip the president sufficiently for him to sustain them in government, the death of Tinga was marking the end of their eating. And let me tell you, it is because some of them are not deep enough. Raila was not taking them to government so that they eat. He was taking them to government so that strategically he would prepare himself for 2027. So that strategically he would fundraise. You require billions of shillings to run a presidential campaign. So they thought he was doing it for them because he loved them. That was political strategy. And that's why he panicked when he saw that the community was starting to buy into the idea of broad-based government. He was forced to go public and say that, who told you that ODM will not have a presidential candidate? Those of us who understand the chess game that we call politics in Kenya, we knew exactly what Mzee was doing, strategizing. Well, some people say He did that so as to quell the Gen Z uprising. I do not think so. He saw an opportunity. The Gen Z could only have been silenced by His Excellency Right Honorable Raila Odinga if he was the owner of the dog. He was not. So he rode on that and got what he got.
And by the way, I don't want to preempt because Odinga is not here to defend or deny or speak about this. But we all followed Odinga's politics. Do you agree with what my friend Boni Khalwale is saying? And maybe at this point you can take a minute and get to the comment section and explain. Did you believe when Raila said that ODM, nani amwambia kwamba ODM haitakuwa na candidate? Do you believe what Boni is saying? Because according to Boni, ni alikuja kusema hiyo after realizing that vitu hazingeenda venye alikuwa nataka. Okay? Now, my only rebuttal to that, my only reaction to Boni Khalwale's statement is the fact that the Secretary General of the party came out blatantly and boldly to confront what was established as a party position, and calls came all over for the Secretary General to be removed from his seat. But Odinga will still come out and defend his Secretary General. Sadly, our statement has left without us knowing the truth. Probably to date, no one will ever know the truth. But sometime, I'm telling you, as politics go, we will know what exactly was in Raila's plan. And Otiende Amolo, the Rarieda member of parliament, who I understand was amongst the team who was supposed to speak during Raila's burial in Bondo, was suggesting, or rather was echoing or supporting, backing Sifuna statement on, this is not what was agreed.
And proposals, even if they are not correct. And therefore, I have continued to speak out against what I think are proposals that are improper at whatever cost. For example, when before the last session, there was proposal to privatize Kenya Pipeline Company, you remember?
Yes.
I spoke very strongly against it, and a lot of our colleagues were in opposition, so that they withdrew the bill. And then, you know the way Parliament works. And then this session, what they then did is on a particular day, when we had seen the order paper, and nothing like privatization of KPC was on it, and so no one was prepared. And then at about 2:30, they circulate another order paper that now has it only to those basically who are in the house. So some of us now learned, and by the time we got there, it had been endorsed within less than 30 minutes or something like that. And I'm on record as questioning the speaker that that is a misuse of amendment of the order paper. The order paper is supposed to notify not just members of parliament, but everyone at large that there will be this business at this time.
Right.
So I called it legislation by ambush. And so some of us have continued to call this. When the cybercrimes law was being debated, we opposed it. But what happens in parliament ultimately? There's something called mood of parliament. That mood is the most difficult thing you can deal with. Because you can go there, you have your minutes, sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5. You will wax lyrical about why the legislation is bad, what it will do and all that. And the speaker and the rest of your colleagues will just be looking at you. And then the speaker will put the question. Once that question is carried, that's it. Whether you opposed or not, collectively, they will say Parliament passed it. So even those of us who opposed it, you are lost in that sea. And so there's nothing you can do. You can roll on the ground, you can jump, you can go to a witch doctor, but it will not change the decision. So I think that it is true, and I'm on record. I think Parliament needs to be more independent than it is, because collectively we are supposed to change. Is this dynamic? Up to the point of his death, Raila Odinga had not indicated either way whether would be a candidate for presidency or not in 2027.
And that was a possibility?
That was a possibility. In fact, he had indicated to some that he would be running. Without him, the ultimate question would be whether the ODM would still decide to front a candidate. And the biggest question, if that is so, would be who. Now, that is the one big thing that will be discussed much. Now, up to his death, Raila had not pronounced himself on what happens in 2027 moving forward.
We are ODM. Who's told you that ODM will not have a candidate in 2027? Who has told you?
He seems to be, he's a lawyer, and he's giving it political interpretation and the legal interpretation. I think when I reacted to that, my feeling was President William Ruto can still join ODM. Of course, there is no doubt about that, no problem with that. But sitting as a president, he doesn't have the vantage space of not being seen as meddling with other parties. That is where the problem is. But there is nothing illegal of UDA-ODM merger. There is nothing illegal about it. And that is why we've also been saying those who are also not supporting the ODM agenda should be more responsible to just join the UDA and belong there. Now, this brings the question, the fate of that deal. The BBG fate is now subject to different political interpretations. And moving forward, several other people are saying what they think should be the way forward. And this is former UDA party spokesperson Arnold Maliba.
And that, for me, is a discretion. Secondly, President William Ruto shamelessly moved in to inherit Raila's estate, political estate. Shamelessly. You are inheriting a man's wife before he's even buried. And I'll tell you what he did. Number one, he said Mbadi Tosha. William Ruto does not misspeak. Of all the people who came in from the BBG, from the other side, he took time and spoke about Mbadi, attributed things that had already happened, including issues on exchange rate on the dollar, attributed it to Mbadi, spoke about inflation and everything else. Things he attributed to Mbadi, things that when I left government last year, we already had achieved, and Mbadi had not actually come into office then. The president came in and tried to force the Luo nation to pick Mbadi. Clear.
To pick him as what? As
a successor. He said, Siata Mbadi Tosha.
Okay.
That is not misspeaking. Politicians don't misspeak. A person of William Ruto's caliber cannot misspeak. And from Wandai, from a school, from all the others, he went in, zeroed in on Mbadi, and clearly said, Siu Mbadi pia natosha. That was his way of actually trying to, he wanted. You remember how he tried with Kindiki when he tried to Gashagwanize him by saying this is a braquet. He wanted to run with the Rigiji flow. It didn't just catch on. Yesterday, he tried to actually run with the Kibaki Tosha line by saying Mbadi Tosha. And that you can actually tell going forward that as at now, William Ruto's intelligence and thinking is that Mbadi will be a very good pick to actually replace Raila. And therefore, that is Kindiki's replacement. from yesterday's speech, Mbadi is Kindiki's replacement as the running mate. Well, of course, it has got consequences because there are the people who have primed themselves for that position, like Gladys Wanga, for example. She's been very vocal about it. Or rather, she's postured as the Raila replacement. So, William Ruto started a war there. Two, he did not even shy away by saying that he will not allow ODM to actually be taken and end up playing opposition politics. He will not allow us who. In this country, you can only belong to one party. So he belongs to UDA, but he's not going to allow ODM. So substantively, as we speak, William Ruto is actually the acting the party leader of ODM.
Now he's going to vie on ODM.
He's the ODM party leader, substantively. He went in, and everybody who spoke, we saw men who instead, like I've said, Wandai, a man decides to actually thank President William Ruto for all the time he spoke, Oparanya, and then there was this competition about who was closer to Raila. At some point, I heard Oparanya say that he was the person who was closest to Raila in these last days. And then I was wondering, between Ida Odinga and Oparanya, who is closer to Raila?
Why don't we throw in Oburu at it?
Yeah.
Yes, because Oburu is Raila's older brother. Yeah. So of course he's claiming that he's closer to Raila than Oburu.
Yeah, so Oparanya was there saying that and you can actually catch it, you can actually find it out there. So when a man like Oparanya, now an old man, saying that he was the closest to Raila, you start asking yourself questions. But then of course you know that there was a competition on who was scored last. So the people who spoke at the Raila's funeral, that is where discretion comes in my opinion.
I've seen another reaction from Kinudi Afanyamambo saying that the party has its own internal wrangles within, that the party does not need an outsider for it to sort its own mess.
You see, ODM does not need enemies. ODM has got its own enemies from inside. Orengo needs to realize that ODM will be wrecked from inside. It will be wrecked by its own people. Some of those people I don't want to mention here are just there for their stomachs. Wataitwa na William Ruto wapatiwe pesa kidogo. They are going to wreck ODM from inside.
So the fight is going to
be... The fight is... The ODM does not need enemies.
But
it has got very greedy people who sit inside ODM who only see their stomach, and after they are done seeing their stomach, they see their own stomach. Those are the people who are going to destroy ODM. Watapewa pesa kidogo hivi tu na Ruto. They will destroy ODM from inside. In fact, I don't like advising William Ruto. But let me give him one for today. The government owes ODM 12.6 billion. That's what they say.
That's for political parties.
For political parties. You don't need to destroy ODM. Just give them their 12 billion. That's all. And then sit and watch.
The fights.
Just sit and watch. So Orengo is thinking that an enemy will come and attack ODM. No. If I was president, ninaweza sema, we owe you 12.6, mumepewa 5 kwanza, government is struggling. Uone ile vita itatoka Orange House. So you don't need to kill ODM. It has got enough enemies within.
I mean, the entire parrots in that political party called ODM, which Professor Nyong'o, myself, and Elizabeth Wai started, under the direction of the Prime Minister, the late Prime Minister. I just shocked at all these people whom I saw walking through the gate from whatever little corner they came from in Nyanza, and how everyone is saying that I was the last one that he called, I was the last one that he called, I was this, I was that. I'm just disgusted by that kind of grandstanding, and I knew it was going to happen. I disagreed with the leader, with Mr. Odinga, while he was alive. Left his party on moral grounds and a matter of conscience, on his joining the government and his foreign policy of secessionism in some places in our region. So I rejected that and I left because I'm my own man. Now, there's a revolution coming to Nyanza. No, not one person is going to be left standing after the elections in 2027. Not one. The real grassroots leaders are going to emerge, and not the parrots or the groupies, the praise singers, and those of the cult of personality. Because I believe that Mr. Odinga, and I knew him very well, he was never a tribal leader. Never. They tried to tribalize him. And if there's anybody who failed the president, our Mr. Odinga, it is them. They never go out to vote. They never register to vote. And Kenyans were hesitant about Mr. Odinga because of them. Because of their tabia. And you can see the same tabia being replayed here now. And they're going to destroy ODM. They will destroy it. But another form of ODM will emerge from the country of progressive forces and coalesce around another leader and continue the reforms and the change that we need in this country, because the words of the Lord are true, righteous, and precious all the time. Amen. Amen.
That hakuna mtu atatoka nje, and I by the way I got that Kinudha Fanyamabo saying that it is not the president who is going to meddle with that party. And I partly agree with what he said. Some of the interests that are within the party, the political parties fund, na hiyo nakubaliana. Hiyo pesa wakipewa leo, hiyo pesa wakipewa leo, they will organize an NDC, and that NDC, I'm not a prophet of doom, but that NDC will become the most chaotic in the history of that party. In fact, I've heard people saying, let's call an NDC. Hey, that NDC, at the moment, this all political tension, I cannot advise. I cannot advise for the party to hold an NDC. But this is my interpretation of Otiende Amolo. You need to understand, number one, he's also a leader. He's also a leader in the party. He could be the vice chair or someone there, if I'm not wrong. He could be a vice chair. He has a position there. So he's not just talking as just another member. He's also talking as an official of the party. I'm yet to establish which one, but could be a vice chair. Could be the deputy of Wanga. So he's also talking as a party official. Number two, he comes from Raila's backyard. Rarieda borders Bondo. Bondo this side, Rarieda this side. And again, is one of the most respected leaders, even within that party, amongst other reasons, including his legal acumen that has been demonstrated throughout Raila Odinga's legal battles when he was seeking presidency. This is what I see from Otiende Amolo's statement. The first one is, there are several dissenting voices coalescing around Sifuna. There are several of those dissenting voices that are around Edwin Sifuna. And probably they were just waiting for a trigger. And that is why I felt the threat of removing some people from the party by Hassan Joho when he spoke in Bondo. That statement is not one of the best. The statement that you can remove some people from the party is not one of the best. And I'm saying that because you need everyone at this point. If Raila never chased people, I don't know. If you're saying that, it will backfire, because look at now Otiende Amolo. Otiende Amolo is supporting Sifuna. And someone already made Sifuna that Sifuna, you are supporting Gachagua. Or rather, Sifuna, you don't come from this place, you come from that place. So if you go the direction of sending dissenters away, chasing dissenters from the party in the name of protecting that party, then do you think that is already a recipe for division that cannot steady that party? So it's very critical at this point to find the right thing. What Otiende is saying, and that is why I said in my first video after Sifuna differed with the other team, that someone needs to be very careful. Their voice says you don't need to ignore. Remember, if I said it, if you ignore the dissenting voices like the voices of Kenneth Sifuna, then you're doing a disservice to that party. It's not helping the party anymore. The fight, and it's not the fight, the race to emerge as the strong voice, or rather to succeed Raila Odinga in Luo Nation, remains very complex. Very complex. And there is an experiment, there is a pilot that seemed to be succeeding, the Babu Owino pilot. The Babu Owino pilot is simple. He simply said, I support Baba, I respect Baba, but I don't support Baba's decision to work with UDA. And from that, his voice has been appealing. That experiment is what the Otiende Amolos are picking. And because of that, the Babu Owino axis within the ODM party might attract more MPs. ODM has more than 60 MPs. How many are talking? How many are talking? People have panicked. There is a total panic. And because of that, things are not as easy as someone might look at them. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's meet in the next. And thank you, Eric Kiplagat Sitonik. Yeah, he had really profiled our podcast, really gave some feedback about our podcast, but we've had some one-on-one, and we've agreed that I thank God that he's appreciating, apart from the political analysis, he's appreciating our charity work, and also in the true spirit of humanity. And he's also appreciating the fact that we can differ. I always say we can differ on many things. We are in a democracy. We must not agree. But we must all be at the same page to believe that whereas we don't agree on how things should be done, on how this and that is done, by the end of the day, our disagreement does not escalate beyond the courts of humanity.